So now let's look at 2. We want to remember that this function is true only for mid-sized dogs. Describe the appropriate input values for this function. So since we're talking about mid-sized dogs, if we look back in 14.1, what was the description of a mid-sized dog? What was it? 20 to 100 pounds. So 20 to 100 pounds. So use your description of the appropriate input values to express the domain for the function using set notation. So how would we write 20 to 100 pounds? That would be the domain, right? That would be the accepted values for this particular equation because it applies to just the mid-sized dogs, right? So if it was a small dog, this equation wouldn't work, and for a large dog, it wouldn't work. But for all of the mid-sized dogs, 20 pounds to 100 pounds, we can use this. So what would our domain be? Writing it as set notation. So set notation, we have a brace with a line, and then we're saying that W, our weight, is our input, and how do we write it? Now we're going to put an inequality in there. So what's our low? 20. So we're going to have 20 pounds. Good. So we have 20 pounds is less than or equal to X, which is less than or equal to 100 pounds. So pretty much everything between 20 pounds and 100 pounds, and we're including that 20 pounds, right? And we're including 100 pounds. So if a dog weighs 100 pounds, they're still considered that mid-sized dog. But if they weigh 101 pounds, then they are a large dog. And if the dog is 19 pounds, 19.4 pounds, then it is considered a small dog. So Miriam knows that she also has several large dogs to feed. When she looks at the chart, she reads the instructions 60 ounces plus 1 ounce for each additional 10 pounds of weight. So how much additional food should large dogs be fed for each pound of weight greater than 100 pounds? So if they weigh 100 pounds, they get 60 ounces, right, according to the formula that we have. But then for each 10 pounds of weight over 100 pounds, so a dog that's 110 pounds is going to get fed how much? 61 ounces of food. So how much additional food? Well, we get 1 ounce for each 10 pounds. So what do we need to do? So 1 ounce of food for each 10 pounds of weight. Say that again? So if we take 1 ounce and divide it by 10 pounds, that would be 0.1 ounces per pound. And what did we do to find that? So ounce per pound, what would that be considered? That's our slope. We're looking at how much the rate of change ounces per pound. Questions so far? So a 140-pound Great Dane has arrived for a short stay at the kennel. Miriam says that the dog should be fed 64 ounces of food per day. Her friend Chase says that the dog requires 100 ounces of food per day. Who is correct to justify your response? All right, and why?
I think Chase here, he's adding
so if the dog is 100 pounds, they get 60 ounces, right? But then the large dog formula says that for each 10 pounds over that, they get 1 ounce, right? So for each 10 pounds, you're getting 1 more ounce over that 100 pounds. And this dog, this Great Dane, is how many pounds over 100 pounds? 40. So they're going to get an additional. They're going to get an additional 4 ounces according to the formula. So 60 ounces plus 4 ounces is 64 ounces more. 64 ounces of food per day. What is Chase doing? He's adding 10 ounces. So I think he's using that original formula, the mid-sized dog formula, right? I think. Let's go back and look.
He's just adding 1 pound.
1 pound, yeah.
1 ounce per pound.
He's adding 1 ounce per pound, which is incorrect. So we need to. So Miriam was correct, and I think we've justified her response that she's using the proper formula and he's just adding the 40 pounds equals 40 ounces. Although the dog might like Chase's regimen better, dogs like to eat. Right. I am concerned, especially since I think it's like actually like dog boarding, not like the Humane Society. All right, so questions so far. So number 5, write a function that expresses the amount of food AW in ounces that a large dog A of W in ounces that a large dog should be fed. As a function of W, the weight of the dog in pounds determine the domain and range of the function. So now we're looking at creating a function for our dogs. Questions or thoughts, ideas, brainstorming? If the dog weighs 100 pounds, how much food do they get? They get 60 ounces, right? If 100 pounds. All right, and then what else do we know for a large dog? Okay, so for each 10 pounds over, they're going to get 1 additional ounce, right? So what's our equation, right? What's our equation going to be? AW equals 0.1. What? 0.1, yeah. So not X, it's W. 0.1 W plus 16. So for each pound, right? So where did this 0.1 come from? It's what? But where did the 0.1 come from? Where did we calculate that before? It's the amount of ounces per pound, right? Because if one ounce is for every 10 pounds. So our slope, we want it to be so that if we have a dog that weighs 164 pounds, we can figure out how much food they get, right? Or if they're 103 pounds. And so we have 0.1 ounces per pound. So then we don't have to work in just intervals of 10. And so we had calculated that in
Question 3.
question 3, where we had 1 ounce of food for each 10 pounds. So 1 ounce per 10 pounds equals 0.1 ounce per pound. Alright, so now it says determine a domain and range. So what would be our domain? What are all the weights that would work for this large dog formula? So if a dog was 100.5 pounds, it wouldn't work? Do we have a max? Let's start there. No, because anything over 100, any dog over 100 pounds is considered large breed. So what would be, so our W is going to be everything greater than 100. So here we're not including 100, but everything greater. So 100.1, 100.2, 100.3, everything greater than 100 pounds. So this would be our domain. What about our range? What are all of the food amounts? What's the lowest food amount that we can get out? So we have our domain, our A of W is 60 ounces, right? Everything greater than 60 ounces. Running out of space on the side here. Let me try. So our range is everything. Don't forget your units, because that's how we know what the values are. So our domain is going to be all dogs greater than 100 pounds, and our range is going to be all food values greater than 60 ounces. All right, questions? Miriam realizes that there are 3 different algebraic feeding rules to follow because dogs are different sizes. She organizes her feeding rules in a list so that she can quickly refer to them whenever she has to decide how much food to feed a dog. So, what are we starting with? We're going to have small, medium, and large, right? All right, so what's our rule for small dogs? And that's the part of the chart that's there. So what's the rule for small dogs? For every pound of weight, they get 1 ounce, right? So whatever they weigh, that's how many ounces that they get. And small breeds are, with symbols are going to go in here. What symbol goes between 0 and W? Are we ever going to have a 0 pound dog? No. So what symbol? Less than. And then can we have a 20 pound dog? Yep. So what symbol is going to go in here? Now is 20 pound dog, is that considered small breed or medium breed? Medium, so are we going to include it here? Nope. So we're just going to have less than.